I think it's safe to say that most people my age, and perhaps most people in general, look back at the times they had with a melancholy fondness that reaches a near painful degree. And what I mean by this is that longing for a joy now lost that becomes heartache. To the point where any reminder of that time makes you sigh in both pain and relief. To put it to the test, what happens when you see this? Or hear this? And personally, I find the sensation overwhelming when you combine it all like this. These are a few examples of things that I really, really love that I can't experience the same way anymore. And it's not the individual media's fault. And there are exceptions, like with Adventure Time. Whenever you, or at least whenever I rewatch it, there's something new that I see that makes me go, oh, I see how this led to that. Or, I wish I had noticed this before. Or whenever there's a new Animal Crossing game, I like to play the old one and see how it compares to the new one. And sometimes I just go back to the old one to experience the joy. But most of the stuff I see differently now, and it's more of like a faded painting than a new, I guess, sticking with the paint analogy, a new coat of paint. And I think this is because of how simplistic life was when I was younger, and how unexpectedly hard life is now. I never expected to be thinking about taxes at the age of 19, or moving out, or even driving. And it really hit me like a sack of bricks. And when I realized I was getting older and that things had to change, I didn't realize how it would affect me at the time, but I can easily see that I was less stressed in elementary school and middle school when compared to high school and college. Speaking of college, it kind of feels like college is just kind of like a delaying factor. Like you go to college to delay the inevitable process of growing up. Like you're buying yourself time. Because at least when I was in high school, I thought, okay, I went from elementary school to middle school to high school. Obviously, the next step is still school, so you go to college. But college is expensive. Especially in the US, where it's 40 grand per semester. Or per year, I forget which it is. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just for the average state tuition. And I am honestly terrified at the thought of being essentially in debt the same way I would be with a mortgage at 20. So I find it very, very hard to convince myself that when I'm done with community college, I would go to a larger college, like, say something like a state college. But I guess that's a bit of a side tangent. And I'm not trying to go, oh, woe is me, life is so hard, I can't believe I have to get a job. No, I guess I expected I would just be a little more prepared, maybe. I expected better prospects for an entry-level position. Maybe it was a little more idealistic than retail or food service, which I've done both, and both are miserable. Maybe I just wanted more time. Time does wild things to your perception of the past. It's hard to imagine that Five Nights at Freddy's 1 is going to be 10 years old this year, and that Minecraft will be 15, and that I'm gonna be 20. It feels like Markiplier's FNAF video came out yesterday, and that I've only had Minecraft for a couple of months at most. And honestly, I hate the idea that next year I'm going to be old enough to drink alcohol. It makes me feel like I've met Charlemagne in person, even though I probably shouldn't be thinking about how crazy old I am at 20-ish. Not 20 yet. And the crazy thing is that I can't remember the individual days. I just remember the moments, the thoughts, the feelings. And I really wish I had paid more attention to my life then. I remember the feeling of the dull burn of asphalt on my bare feet on the warm summer days after I got out of the town pool. The sound of a spring releasing tension in a Nerf End Strike Strife. The Lego building sound effect from Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. The amazing feeling of opening a new tutorial world in Minecraft. The joy of watching a Dan TDM video. The pain of learning we had to put down the family cat. The melancholic loss of the thought of never seeing my friends again when I move. The satisfying feeling of finally finishing the Lego Death Star after a week of building. The annoyance when someone I was hanging out with at the time knocked it over and shattered it into a million pieces. This sums up my childhood in as many ways as I can think of in the moment. And all I remember is kind of a blur. And that's sad, but I'm lucky to have this much to remember it by. And even more that I look back on it with this joy as well as the melancholy. The joy that I had it, the pain, that the feeling is no longer there. I no longer feel the simplistic love for all these things. And I'm even more lucky that I can still experience these things in some way through either the Steam library of games or HBO Max or Disney Plus. It's not the same, though. It's never the same. And I'm well aware that I'm chasing something that I'm never, ever going to get back. And honestly, that's fine by me. Even if it's just for a little while, I like to escape. And I love that I can share all these thoughts with whoever is listening. And if you made it this far, thank you so much. You have no idea how the thought of somebody actually seeing this truly improves my motivation, my mood. It does a lot. There isn't really a good word or string of words to describe nostalgia, but I hope this sufficed to describe it, I guess. And thank you for watching.